Tonight's story comes from the UK, where a man named Daniel moved to a new city for work, completely alone and unfamiliar with his surroundings. His routine was simple: work during the day and exploring the city at night, especially looking for good places to eat. One evening, he wandered into an older, quieter part of the city where he came across a restaurant that looked strangely out of place, as if it had been forgotten by time. The sign was faded, the windows were dull, and despite the uneasy feeling building inside him, he decided to go in. The dining area was located in the basement, and the moment he stepped down, he felt an unnatural cold wrap around him. The place was dim, silent, with dark walls and old furniture that carried a heavy, suffocating atmosphere. A very old waiter appeared and took his order, but instead of leaving, he remained standing nearby, watching him in a way that made Daniel deeply uncomfortable. Within minutes, Daniel began to feel like he wasn't alone. At first, it was subtle, a slight movement behind him like a chair being gently pulled. When he turned, nothing was there, but the feeling didn't leave. It grew stronger, heavier, like invisible eyes fixed on him. Then, without warning, a glass on the table behind him slid across the surface on its own. Daniel froze. His heart started pounding as he slowly turned again, and this time he noticed something worse. The chair had shifted position, as if someone had just sat down. The waiter stepped closer and whispered in a strained voice, "Don't look again." But Daniel couldn't stop himself. When he looked back, he saw them, faint at first, like shapes forming out of darkness, then clearer for just a moment. A pale woman sitting at the table, her face unnaturally stretched, her eyes completely black and empty, and beside her 3 children whose features looked distorted, incomplete, as if they didn't fully belong in this world. One of the children tilted its head and smiled, a slow, unnatural smile that didn't feel human. The air turned freezing cold, and a broken whisper filled the room, multiple voices overlapping in a way that made no sense. Daniel jumped up in panic and ran out without stopping, but the terror didn't end there. That night, back in his room, the silence felt wrong, heavy, like something had entered with him. Around midnight, the lights flickered violently before going out completely, and in the darkness, he heard footsteps, not outside, but inside his room, slow and dragging, moving closer. When the lights came back on, he looked toward the window and saw a reflection that didn't match the room. Standing behind him was a tall figure, the same woman, but now clearer, her head tilted at an unnatural angle, her mouth opening wider than it should, as if stretching beyond human limits. Daniel spun around, but nothing was there. When he looked back at the reflection, she was closer. Then came the sound that broke him completely. Soft laughter right beside his ear. Children close enough to feel their breath. A whisper followed, cold and slow. "You saw us." His body locked in fear as faint, small handprints began appearing on the wall, one after another, as if invisible children were pressing their hands from the other side. Night after night, it continued. The footsteps, the whispers, the presence growing stronger, closer, more aware of him. No matter where he went, it followed. One night, he woke up unable to breathe, a crushing weight on his chest, and just inches above his face, he saw her, not fully, but enough, her hollow black eyes staring into him as her voice echoed in a broken tone. "Now you stay," Daniel screamed, and everything vanished. Within days, he left the city and never returned. It took months for the disturbances to stop, but even now, he says the worst part wasn't what he saw, it was what he realized in the end, that some things don't just haunt places, they choose people.